Once again, as Israel has returned to destroy our Islamo-Nazi enemy in Gaza, in trying to also free as many of our hostages as possible still in captivity, we have a tiny, elite, destructive group back at it, protesting. This time literally shutting down Jerusalem with cars left in the middle of the streets, creating endless traffic jams and chaos for an entire city. They claim they are protesting for the hostages, but we know the truth. Their protests have always been about one thing, ultimately, toppling the government in a coup, as they never protested against the United Nations, UNRWA, or against the giving of aid to Hamas. And they have had no gratitude whatsoever to Prime Minister Netanyahu or his government for succeeding in freeing over 190 of the hostages from Gaza. An incredible achievement, knowing that we are dealing with Islamo-Nazis who can never be trusted or are the epitome of evil. They also say they are protesting to protect democracy. But we know that the opposite is true. They protest to stop a democratically elected government from implementing policies and making position changes based on the will of the people who voted for that government. For years, I have documented how former security officials and politicians like Ehud Barak, former prime minister, have worked behind the scenes to undermine the will of the people. Listen to what he says.
אני אומר, במדינת ישראל יש איזה 3,000 אנשים, יכול להיות שבלעדינו כאן רק 2,800, אבל 3,000 אנשים שבסוף הם משפיעים על כל דבר, במרכז של כל דבר, מפוזרים. רובנו, אני אומר, אני מניח שאני מכיר 1,500 מהם, ול-1,500 אחרים שאני לא מכיר, אני יכול להגיע דרך חבר משותף, אין מישהו בצד שני שאין לי חבר משותף איתו שיכול לדבר. אז אני מדבר בחודשים האחרונים עם הרבה אנשים, עוד לפני שהתחלתי לכתוב, התחלתי לדבר עם אנשים, אחד, לפעמים ראש מוסד אקדמי, ראש של איזה חברת ענק, ראש של איזה גוף אחר במדינה, לפעמים שניים ביחד. ואני מתאר להם את זה, צריך לקום ולהפוך את השולחנות, לקום בקורסות, להפוך את השולחנות, ליישב עד שהממשלה נופלת. אני בטוח שאם משביתים את המדינה ל3 שבועות, ובטח אם זה בזמן הכנסת ויש מחנה אוהלים ענק מסביב לכנסת, וראשי האופוזיציה משתתפים בזה, ושומרי הסף עושים כל אחד מה שהוא צריך, הממשלה נופלת תוך שבועות בודדים. אבל צריך לעשות את זה, לא לדבר על זה. אותו הדבר, שומרי הסף האחרים, אז ציינתי שמיארה היא מתנהגת מצוין, אבל גם היא יהיה סוף לקוחות שלה, בסופו של דבר יפטרו אותה, ואם לא נקום אז הלך עלינו. אני חושב שצריך להשתית את המדינה. ההסתדרות, יש בה ועדים גדולים של הליכוד.
From the judicial reform protests before October 7th to the manipulative use of the hostage issue today, it's all part of the same game. This elite, tiny group claimed to be fighting for democracy, but what they are really trying to do is destroying Israeli democracy. They continue to lose at the ballot box, so they resort to chaos, insubordination, and incitement to regain power by force, to try to regain power by force. For the first time in Israel's history, we finally have a government that is openly calling out the deep state behind these protests. Why? Because much of the public finally sees it too. The unelected elites, those who have controlled the judiciary, security establishment, media, and business sectors in Israel for decades, no longer operate in the shadows. During this tragic 17-month war, they have been exposed like never before. They have exposed themselves like never before. And thanks to independent media and social media in Israel, the truth is out for people to see. What mainstream media has hid from the masses for years is now being reported from alternative media sites and social media outlets. For those willing to see and hear what is really going on, that has been hidden by mainstream media reporting. But it doesn't stop at exposure. Our government today is actively working to dismantle the deep state. The old game of elites controlling the country from behind the curtain against the will of the people, while the mainstream media brainwashes the masses, is coming to an end. Israel is finally on its way to becoming a real democracy, where the will of the people, not the voice of just a privileged few, determines the future of our country. The protest movement in the streets today of Israel, once again, are basically the deep state's last stand. and they know it. This won't be a quick or easy process because the deep state is controlled by a tiny, rich, and powerful elite with enormous influence over the courts, the media, the financial sector, and international business. They will fight tooth and nail to maintain their grip on power, even as they see less and less people are coming out to the streets to support them. That's why we see them once again manipulating the masses, even calling for civil war, for insubordination in the army once again, and for mass disruptions, just like they did during the judicial reform protests before October 7th, 2023. But here's the difference. While thousands will join them today, a majority of the public that once joined them and supported them won't be showing up ever again to join them. The war has exposed the depth of their corruption and incompetence. So many of the failures of October 7th and the aftermath were a direct result of deep state policies. One easy example before October 7th, the legal system forbidding soldiers from shooting at Hamas terrorists rioting near the Gaza fence. One easy example after October 7th, again, the legal system prosecuting soldiers and citizens who risked their lives to fight on October 7th when the army was hours away from showing up. And this is not to mention the hypocrisy in the legal establishment, jailing patriotic soldiers who escalated important documents to the government and the Prime Minister's office that the IDF High Command was withholding from the government and the Prime Minister, while the legal establishment is not even investigating any of the leaks by senior IDF officials to the press from secret government meetings during the war. This is not even addressing the gag order by the legal establishment put on an extremely damaging case of an actual spy within the ranks of the IDF on October 7th, and them not investigating the Attorney General of the Army or the regular Attorney General's office responsible for doctoring up a video from a prison of Hamas prisoners that make IDF soldiers look like rapists and leaking it to the media even though it was all not true. And that video was spread all over the world. A modern blood libel against the Jewish people done by our own deep state and legal system, and still not investigated or prosecuted or talked about in the mainstream media, just swept under the rug. Those are just a few of the many cases where people in Israel are waking up to how the deep state, legal system, mainstream media, etc., have been working against the interest of the people of Israel for years. So many people do not want to return to the divisive protests that serve only to protect a tiny elite deep state responsible for our national failures. So thankfully the tide is turning. Despite the tiny elite deep state's desperate attempts to plunge the country into anarchy once again, Israel is moving towards a future where the people, not unelected bureaucrats, will be shaping its destiny. We are witnessing the rebirth of the Jewish nation as a free people in our ancestral homeland, no longer controlled by the remnants of the socialist elites who established this country and have held us back for too long. The deep state will not go down without a fight, but its days are numbered. The people of Israel have had enough. We want unity, not based on agreeing on everything, but at least based on an equal democratic playing field. More than 90% of Israelis agree on 90% of the issues. We can deal with the issues we disagree upon, but we want to do it without being manipulated from a tiny elite directing the narrative for the masses to believe and manipulating the masses to destroy the country in the name of protecting democracy. The proud Jewish people in Israel today are taking back our country, restoring real democracy, and ensuring that the failures of the past never happen again. This is not about politics. This is about the democratic nature for the Jewish state of Israel, and we will win. As I always say, we will overcome our external enemies and our internal challenges. Strengthen your faith in the one above, everyone. We got this. We, the proud ancestral Jewish people back in our ancestral homeland, we have a role to play in the world by living here in our ancestral homeland, and by being a proud nation of Jews back in our ancestral homeland. The most miraculous story of humanity. Despite thousands of years of continuous exiles and persecution, we are back. So we will overcome the latest challenges as well, from external enemies and internal challenges, and come out stronger as a united people despite the powers out to divide us. So everyone, strengthen your faith in the one above, and Am Yisrael Chai. That's it for today's Pulse of Israel. If you are not yet a subscriber to our daily, belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect videos about Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world, what are you waiting for? Go to pulseofisrael.com and click to subscribe. And yes, we are a donor-based operation. We need your support, large or small, as we are heavily censored and shadow banned across social media. So every once in a while, go to pulseofisrael.com and click on the donate button. Shalom, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.